Hi everyone, how are you? I know it's been a while since I posted a video. Just kind of wanted to talk to you guys, see what's going on, see how everybody's doing, how Mercury in retrograde is affecting everybody, because let me tell you what, it is affecting me like no other. I did not think that it would affect me in the way that it has, and oh boy was I wrong. So just kind of how it's affected me a little bit. We've had miscommunications with our kid. We've had miscommunications amongst roommates. We've had miscommunications between my husband and I. So very classic signs of Mercury in retrograde. Unfortunately, on the work angle, I have had my computer system crash, my phones crash, my boss misinterpret things that I was saying, taking them out of context, and putting words in my mouth that I never said. So yeah, it's definitely affecting me. How is it affecting you guys? Are you guys seeing the different changes in your life and seeing how things are affecting you differently? I know a lot of you follow astrology and follow how things work and the planets and alignments and all of that stuff. So I'm kind of curious to hear from you guys, see how everything is affecting you, see how things are different amongst your lives than they normally are when Mercury isn't in retrograde. Sorry, I have a cat that's kind of jumping on my table and jostling my camera a little bit. I just wanted to kind of communicate with you guys. Please realize Rich and I are both working on the readings as fast as we can get them out. I know I have been hitting them hard on weekends, and I'm actually taking a break from doing that so that way I can talk to you guys for a minute. I have been kind of throwing together how to do maybe a kind of like a tarot type teaching video. I've had several people request that, especially since a lot of you are aware that I've been reading cards for pretty much my entire life. And I'm the one that gave Rich his first reading. So I know that there are a lot of people out there who would be interested in maybe kind of getting an idea as to how I do things other than just watching me read cards. And so the thought that has crossed my mind is to have my daughter, who you all have yet to meet, come on and maybe you do it in such a fashion so instead of me teaching the camera and talking and spitballing to a camera, I can kind of walk her through it. She can walk through the processes of stuff that I've already taught her, and you guys can see how I go about walking somebody through their paces on learning tarot. It's definitely probably a little bit different than most people have experienced because 99% of everything relies on you. 1% relies on me as a teacher, and I think it's important that people realize that tarot isn't entirely on the reader. A lot of it is, yes, but it's also on the person who's asking the question and what kind of vibes and what kind of energies are sending forth. And so that's where the reader comes into play because it's up to us to interpret that through the cards. And I don't think anybody's really ever taken the time to explain it that way. And maybe it's just me, maybe that's just how I interpret things. But a lot of it is how we interpret what we get from you guys. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, I think, and personally I feel, it gives for a more specialized reading. It gives for something that is a little bit more tuned to each individual person. And I thoroughly enjoy reading. I always have. And I probably always will read cards, or at least as long as I'm able to shuffle. So there's that. Changes are in the works on this end. We're still looking at moving. For those of you who don't know, who haven't heard, that's something that I think we've all kind of been wanting for a while. We're starting to put some things into motion and put some things into manifestation. We're throwing the energy out there, throwing out a lot of positivity, so that way we can see the return of that. And it is a lot of hard work. As you guys know, a lot of you have been working with energies for a while and working with manifesting for a while. So with that being said, you know, it's just one of those things that happens with life. And there's, I don't know, it seems like change is always ever present. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think a lot depends on how you accept things and move forward to them. Not all changes are ones that we necessarily asked for, but they're necessary in the happening of anyways. So, you know, sometimes things can be necessary and we didn't realize that they were necessary until they happened. Sometimes they can be eye-opening and we realize only after the change has happened that we were sitting in darkness and sitting kind of under a shroud, so to speak. And then whatever change happens and we make it through it, and now we have a different perspective on things. So I don't know. I, for one, am a person who, while I've learned to roll with the punches and I've kind of learned how to react to certain things and whatnot, life is about perspective. And the more that we control our perspective, then the better outlook we have, I feel. And so, with that being said, that's a good thing, but there are some changes that honestly I don't like, I didn't want. And sometimes I think I follow right in line with everybody else and wishing things could go back the way they used to be. Case in point with my son, that was certainly a change that I didn't like, I didn't want, and I would give anything to have him back. And I generally try not to talk about Jaden a whole lot, and I probably won't bring him up a whole lot as time goes on. Yesterday was the 7-month anniversary of his death, so that was kind of rough and probably didn't help things on my end. Next month is his birthday, and so I don't know how I'm going to handle that, to be honest with you. I think it's going to be tough, and my boss probably won't like it, but I definitely plan on taking that day off from work because I need to allow myself that time to not be focused on everything else. And I think those of you who have lost somebody close to you know what I mean, especially on those firsts. And to be honest with you, I'm not looking forward to my birthday this year because that's the day that my son died. And so, really, with everything that's happened, I've said I don't have a birthday anymore. I'll choose another day during the year and we'll celebrate that instead. But so far that hasn't worked for me. So if anybody has any ideas, throw them out there because I'm interested in hearing them. I feel, and a lot of you have reached out to me to kind of see where I'm at, where my family is at, which is why I'm bringing this up for more than, I guess, just a couple of seconds. And overall, I feel like for the most part, the day-to-day, we're doing okay. But we all have our moments. We all have those times when things are a little bit more tough than they probably normally are on the daily. Still haven't cleaned out his closet, and that's probably going to be tough. I'm trying not to make it a self-fulfilling prophecy, but I don't anticipate that it's going to be easy. We'll see. Lots of changes ahead. This year has definitely been a year of learning. A lot of big things have happened in the last year. And I know for you guys as well. So I'm interested to hear how you guys have gotten through them. What are some of the things that you have found was maybe a challenging time or a little bit hard, and you worked through it and you learned something? Have you ever stopped to think about that? What have you learned from the situation? What have you learned from something that was a really trying and challenging time and that has gotten you through and made you a little bit stronger, a little bit more resilient? I'd like to kind of hear your thoughts. And while I don't typically read all the comments, so if you've commented before and I've not responded, I apologize, but I just, working a day job and doing YouTube and readings and whatnot, I don't have time to go through all the comments. So I apologize for that if you've gotten your feelings hurt. or felt like I was ignoring you. It certainly wasn't intentional. But again, I can't take time to go through comments if I'm busy spending time with my family, doing readings, working, whatever. So life is life, I guess. But I will read the comments on this one, at least for the first few days. I am interested to hear how you guys have pulled through situations that were really rough, whether it be personal, like trying times at home with kids or spouse or parents, or even more on a professional level as far as with jobs, coworkers, bosses, or even more on a spiritual level, or what have you. I'd like to hear how you guys have found it within yourselves to pull through things. And I definitely believe a support system is a great idea, but sometimes it's not your support system that gets through you everything. They are an amazing gift, if you will. And I certainly have used my support system for a while, but by the same token, there are some things that they just can't get through for you. In fact, I believe that they can help you, but you have to get through it all yourself. And so I would like to hear that from you guys. I guess I just wanted to kind of touch bases with you, let you know that we are still working on readings. We did give ourselves a deadline of August 1st to try and get all of these done. We'll see how well we come out with that, or whether or not we have to get an extension, simply because I know I still have readings rolling in, as does Rich. So I'm going to touch bases with him on that later, and we'll see. And we'll let everybody know. If you would like a reading for the August 1st deadline, then check out my PayPal information in the comments below. Beyond that, I am still tossing around the idea that I talked about before in a previous video about doing a FaceTime or Skype type video where I'm doing readings that way. For a few people, I've had several people who have expressed interest. It's definitely something I'm still tossing around. So let me toss it around a little bit more. I will touch bases with you guys on that one at a later date as to how I'm able to make it work. And I haven't figured out the pricing and stuff, simply because I don't believe in fleecing people. I'm certainly not going to charge like $100 to Skype with me, because I don't feel that that's necessary. But to take the time to correlate my schedule with your schedule and whatnot, I'm thinking it'll probably be priced somewhere in between the mini readings and the full readings, and we'll see what happens. But I feel like I could give more personalized readings to somebody if they wanted to do a video to video, like FaceTime or Skype or whatever reading, then I can just spitball into a camera and listening to myself talk. So there are those people who that's what they want, that's what they like, and I'm certainly not against it, obviously. And I understand why. I understand a lot of people like to review the videos later and maybe show them to friends or family and get their input. And that's okay too. By all means, I don't care. It's, how can I best help you? Obviously, most of the people who come looking for a reading are in crisis, or they're in a challenging situation that they need a little bit of help with, whether it be spiritual help or just a friendly voice and a friendly face to kind of help guide him through, and somebody who can hear spirit and channel and whatnot, or read the cards, kind of help give some direction on life. So I get it. I just want to best help you guys as viewers in the best manner that I can, is I guess what I'm trying to say. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and close this up for now. It's close to a 15-minute video, and I really just wanted to touch bases. I really just wanted to let you all know that I am still here. I haven't forgotten about anybody, and that between work and trying to do readings and whatnot has been chaotic at best. But we will definitely keep things rolling. Rich and I think are going to work on some collaborative readings either later tonight or tomorrow. Start knocking those out a little bit more than we have been, because we've both been trying to get individual readings done as well. So I will talk to everybody soon. Love and light to you all, and I'm going to go back to reading more cards. See you soon.